At that meeting, Chief Justice Wambuzi schooled Amin about the concept of separation of powers in government.
Chief Justice Wambuzi schooled Amin about the separation of power. What Justice Egonda is trying to say, we need to teach Yoweri Kaguta Museveni about the principle of the separation of power.
Multiple weeks ago, I read and viewed in both print and broadcast media the story of a couple of young children mourning and burying their mother who had passed on as a result of a lost battle with cancer. The children were grieving and burying their mother alone without their surviving parent. The father held on some minor, obscure, and yet unproven charge in a
minor, obscure, unproven charge
subordinate court.
In subordinate court. He's talking about Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro.
The father was held in pretrial custody, denied bail, long past the constitutionally permitted period for denial of liberty.
Oh my Lord, preach.
What society treats its children like this?
What society treats its children like this? Oh my God. Say that one more time.
What society treats its children like this?
What society? What society?
Without mentioning the persons caught up in such a criminal justice system.
It's talking about Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro. What society?
Team Judiciary, where are your Kitios and Wambuzes at this hour?
Woo! Where are your Kitios and Wambuzi at this hour? Look at his face.
You're watching Mordecai Marissa Live Political Commentary. Please consider subscribing to help grow Uganda's Voices of Struggle ecosystem. Thank you.
I cannot appreciate you enough for using your valuable time to always go on social media, break down things for people.
And yes, indeed, broadcasting to you from these United States of the Americas. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're watching me and at whatever time you might enjoy this conversation. My name is Mordecai Marissa, and you're welcome to Mordecai Marissa. You guessed it right, live. Exactly. I immensely appreciate to each one of you who makes it 7 a.m. Ugandan time every day to Mordecai Marissa Live. I love it. Are you ready? Let's do this. Now, ladies and gentlemen, tonight I'm going to show you what we call speaking truth to power. It is a voice of reason, a voice of conscience coming from the judiciary, looking Museveni in the eyes and telling him, hello, you are killing the judiciary if it's not dead already. But nevertheless, we've always been told that, better late than never. And that's what I'm going to be showing you tonight. We're talking about this gentleman. Now, you might have seen the clip trending on social media, but I guess you haven't watched it with Mordecai Marissa live commentary. And here we go. Why not? Well, in one of the most explosive and daring farewell speeches ever delivered from the judiciary of Uganda, the retiring Lord Justice Prof. Frederick Martin Stephen Egonda-Ntende appeared to openly urge judges and magistrates to stop acting as enforcers of Museveni's illegal political orders. It is even sad that they have to be reminded that, hey, do not do it. Standing before judicial officers during a special judiciary sitting ahead of his retirement, Egonda delivered what many have interpreted as speaking truth to power, a direct rebellion against this continued politicization of Uganda's courts. Without mentioning Museveni's name, but that's what whom he was talking about, the veteran justice repeatedly warned judicial officers against blindly obeying unlawful directives from powerful people, reminding them that courts exist to protect justice, not dictatorships. Now, those are not the words he said verbatim, but the subtext, or if you really scratch beneath, this is what he was trying to tell them. And perhaps the most loaded part of this speech was when he referenced Idi Amin Dada's era, praising judges who refused to become tools of state oppression despite pressure from the Amin's regime and Amin himself. The message was really impossible to miss. He was essentially telling Uganda's judiciary, history will judge you by whether you defend justice or surrendered the courts to political fear. That's pretty much what he was telling them. But the speech became even more emotional when he condemned the treatment of the NUP deputy spokesperson, Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro, who was denied a temporary restricted bail to attend the burial of his wife after she succumbed to cancer. That was unbelievable. That was a very bizarre precedent set by the judiciary. Clearly disturbed, Egonda questioned what kind of a society. He mentioned about how the children of Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro had to bury their mother in the absence of their father, who was in prison. So he asked, what kind of a society, leaves a grieving man and his children and denies him a chance to bury his own wife while he remains, now these are his words, he remains imprisoned on minor and unproven charges. I mean, don't take my word for it. Listen here, ladies and gentlemen.
However, I come a close second as of today. I would like to thank the giants of our time, on whose shoulders I and others have been able to stand to serve the people of this country and beyond. Mm-hmm. I'll bring out only two, given the time constraints. Talking of justice, Chief Justice Wambu stated, and I quote, while at Buganda Road Court, he featured prominently as the chief magistrate who refused to abide by Idi Amin's verbal orders to imprison miniskirt-wearing women without the option of a fine, which was permitted by law.
Imagine that. Idi Amin wanted to imprison women for wearing miniskirts. And, he even tells his judiciary, you have to imprison them. There's no law. But hey, I'm the president, you should listen to me. And that's pretty much the Musevenism culture. Like I've made commentaries here telling you that Museveni is a student of Idi Amin and Obote's politics combined. And he takes it to the logical conclusion of utter and abysmal dictatorship. Now, like I've said, I don't defend Idi Amin Dada's zero. I don't defend Apollo Milton Obote. I know current misfortunes, current chaos, current turmoil, current oppression can give you or trigger a feeling of nostalgia, thinking, oh, well, we should have had, maybe Amin was better. He wasn't. He was a brutal dictator, okay? But Museveni is even worse. That doesn't mean that I want Idi Amin's dictatorship. Both can be wrong, and I don't want any of them. But imagine the president of Uganda saying, oh, Chief Justice, I want you to arrest all women who wear miniskirts, and people just bow. That's what you see in Uganda. If Museveni told the Chief Justice, what is his name? Zeije, what's funny guy? If he told him, I want you to arrest all NUP party leaders, he would be like, all right, my lord. Sad, but that's the reality we find ourselves in. Let's go back.
He said, rather undiplomatically, open quotes, that will remain idle talk until a law is made to that effect, close.
That will remain idle talk until the law is made. This is a judicial officer saying, no, that's idle talk. I won't follow.
For those who knew Amin, this refusal was a heroic stand which could have cost him his life.
Yep.
He survived Amin's wrath. I commend Mr. Godfrey Rule, the then Minister of Justice and Attorney General, who stood by the late judge in the latter's defense of the independence of the judiciary and the rule of law, close quotes.
Now, what he's trying to say, I'm going to show you here. I think, let me let him continue, then I'll say something here.
This was in 1973. The judge was being idle and disorderly. Chief Magistrate Kitio found it to be idle talk and did not hesitate to say so. If it was within my power, I would rename Buganda Road Courthouse the Kitio Courthouse in honor of this hero and titan of our time. It is just Chitio as a senior colleague who early on in my career schooled me about how the team judiciary operated that I referred to earlier in these remarks. The other titan featured in this story and has not put to print his own role is Chief Justice Wambuzi, probably due to his modesty and humility. When alerted by Mr. Ole of Amin's anger at Chief Magistrate Chitio, he asked Mr. Ole to set up a meeting with General Amin. He had not become field marshal by then, I suppose. Mr. Ole obliged. At that meeting, Chief Justice Wambuzi schooled Amin about the concept of separation of powers in government.
Chief Justice Wambuzi schooled Amin about the separation of power. What Justice Egonda is trying to say, we need to teach Yoweri Kaguta Museveni about the principle of the separation of power. That the three branches of government are equal branches, that the executive is not know-it-all, that it should control and dominate other branches of government. That's what he's trying to say.
In a language that Amin could comprehend. He explained to him that Amin was both the executive and the legislature.
That's Museveni for you. That's He's sending this message to Museveni.
He thus held 2/3 of the powers of government. The judiciary, which was the other part, was headed by the Chief Justice, and that it was up to the Chief Justice to discipline Chitio if he erred, and not Amin. He also advised Amin that if he wanted women imprisoned by wearing miniskirts, he had to make a law to that effect. This was subsequently done. In my view, in the foregoing story, it is not only just Chitio who emerges as a giant and a hero. So does Chief Justice Wambuzi.
Now, let me take you here. I need to show you here. I think I had a story where Justice Wambuzi told this story. Listen to what he says.
The retired Chief Justice says he will never forget the day some women were arrested for wearing miniskirts and charged with being idle and disorderly. President Amin ordered the then presiding judge, Wilson Chitio, not to find the women but send them to Luzira prisons.
What?
The magistrate retorted that will remain idle talk until a law is made to that effect.
Exactly.
Meaning he had a discretion, and the discretion to impose a fine had not been taken away by law. He couldn't be forced to send people to prison. This got to Amin. Amin was very angry, and he said the magistrate must be dismissed, and he must not practice law in the country.
There is alleged widespread.
Okay. Let's go back to here. Now to where he mentions, tells the story about Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro.
Who took on the dangerous role?
Why are they clapping? Do they even believe what he says? Do they even believe? Do you see any of these folks? Can any of these people be like no to Museveni? They love clapping about the history until you tell them. Like, if they clapped, what I would expect is them to sort of try to organize sort of events where they would revise some of the judgments that have been passed, how some cases are being handled. No, they just clap for the sake. Yeah, thank you so much for saying this. They don't care.
Of explaining to Amin that he was wrong regarding Chief Magistrate Chitio and should leave him alone. The wonder is that Amin did. If it were in my power, I would name the Supreme Court Tower the SWW Wams Tower in honor of his heroic defense of the rule of law and independence of the judiciary for over 3 decades.
Yeah, they remind me of, what's his name? That fake guy, what's his name? The Archbishop Kazimba Mugalu. Every year he celebrates Jananlumu, for his courage. We have to celebrate this man. He defied fear by confronting Amin, only for him to preach the following Sunday or the next Sunday, it's like, oh, you want me to be like him? The man, he died. I also have life. I have to live. So why are you celebrating him? Because the purpose of celebrating Janan Lumu is how he defied fear and said, Idi Amin, you're not gonna make me do wrong things. You're not gonna make me obey you. That's why we celebrate him. We don't just celebrate just a name. We celebrate the actions of courage. And when it comes to you now, manifesting these actions of courage, you be like, I also have my life. Leave me alone. So these people are clapping. If Museveni ordered them to do a wrong thing, they wouldn't even question.
For my part, I pay tribute to these two giants for providing shoulders upon which I and others have stood on to serve the people of Uganda and elsewhere.
This is a side note. I don't like those things, the wigs they wear.
Indeed, the present generation of all judicial officers, whatever the level or position, need look no further for worthy and inspiring examples to emulate. Multiple weeks ago, I read and viewed in both print and broadcast media the story of a couple of young children mourning and burying their mother who had passed on as a result of a lost battle with cancer. The children were grieving and burying their mother alone without their surviving parent. The father held on some minor, obscure, and yet unproven charge in a
minor, obscure, unproven charge
subordinate court.
In subordinate court. He's talking about Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro. Shame upon you, the magistrate, that denied an opportunity to a grieving husband to bury his wife. Listen.
The charge did not involve loss of or threat to life,
thank you,
limb, property, or reputation.
Yep.
The father was held in pretrial custody, denied bail, long past the constitutionally permitted period for denial of liberty.
Oh, my Lord. Preach.
What society treats its children like this?
What society treats its children like this? Oh, my God. Say that one more time.
Bring examples to emulate. Multiple weeks ago, I read and viewed in both print and broadcast media the story of a couple of young children mourning and burying their mother who had passed on as a result of a lost battle with cancer. The children were grieving and burying their mother alone without their surviving parent. The father held on some minor, obscure, and yet unproven charge in a subordinate court. The charge did not involve loss of or threat to life, limb, property, or reputation.
It's calling out the judiciary.
The father was held in pretrial custody, denied bail, long past the constitutionally permitted period for denial of liberty.
Wow.
What society treats its children like this?
What society? What society?
Without mentioning the persons caught up in such a criminal justice system.
It's talking about Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro. What society?
Team Judiciary, where are your kitios and wamses at this hour?
Woo! Where are your kitios and wambuzi at this hour? Look at his face. Look at his face, ladies and gentlemen. Because he's invoking the history of the 70s. Those people defied Idi Amin Dada. He's asking them, guys, why don't you defy Museveni? Say no to Museveni. That's what he's saying. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to show you here. Let me show you how this gentleman, Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro, was pleading. This is how he was pleading. He said, read here the last few lines. I think I need to do this so that you see the entire thing. Let me remove my face. He said, in the final, he says, With great sadness, I have learned of the passing of my dear wife, Idi Ntende, who has been battling cancer for a considerable time. In the final days of her release, as her condition deteriorated and became clear that she would not recover, Edith, in the presence of my family members, expressed her last and most earnest wish that I be her by side and that I be permitted to lay her to rest. And it's the very reason I have decided to appeal to your office for my temporary release. I pray thee, you entreat the Chief Magistrate, Kawempe Chief Magistrate's Court, and the Grade 1 as their supervisor to grant me bail to be able to bury my wife. Listen to the pleading. I approach your lordship not as a man who disregards the law, but as a man who is taking the law in its most human and dignified expression to permit me one final act of love for my wife. I am willing to abide to the release conditions that you will deem necessary in the circumstances. Thank you for your time and attention and understanding. Only for these people to be like, to hell, we only listen to one man, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Sad. Sad. That's why he looks at them. This is his farewell speech. I don't have my microphone. I put it here. Yeah, it's right here. This, when I'm going to drop this one when he asks them, where's your chichos? Where are your... Listen.
Long past the constitutionally permitted period for denial of liberty. What society treats its children like this? Without mentioning the persons caught up in such a criminal justice system. Team Judiciary, where are your kitios and wormses at this hour? To the Team Judiciary, and indeed all of us present,
I got nothing to add there, ladies and gentlemen. I've got nothing. That's it. There's one thing I want to read you here. I have to go like this and, look at my screen. I'm still fixing a few stuff here, ladies and gentlemen. I want to read you these words from James Russell Lowell. This is what he said. We need to share the screen, I think. Right. He said, truth forever on the scaffold, wrong forever on the throne. Yet that scaffold swears the future. Behind the dim unknown stands God within the shadow, keeping watch above his own. Truth forever is on the scaffold. You guys know the scaffold usually that are put on the buildings. And wrong forever wants to put itself on the throne. But it doesn't really matter. Whether Museveni, who is wrong, puts himself on the throne, this scaffold swears the future. These words of this justice swears the future. Because behind those words, it's been God. That is in that shadow, that is keeping watch above us who are fighting for the truth. That's all I can say. Let Museveni's wrongness be, enjoy the throne. But in moments like this, when you least expect these voices to come out, they'll be like, okay, we've been watching. We're not blind. No, we've all not been manipulated or indoctrinated with Musevenism. Darkness cannot triumph over light. Museveni will go down. That's it for now. Bye-bye.
Did you enjoy what you just watched?
I'm sure they did.
I'm going to guess that you did. How about you consider subscribing to Mordecai Marissa Live YouTube channel? Thank you.